Hi, I'm Becky Fawcett. I'm a mom by adoption, an infertile blonde, female founder, and a businesswoman. The podcast rule books tell you have to do things a certain way when you do a podcast, and that your intro should always be the same, exactly the same. No, I don't love rules. I'm not doing it the same way every single time, and I just wing it every time for my intro. So it took me 9 years to have 2 children. Before that, I thought I needed to be perfect for the world to appreciate who I was. And then when I realized I was far from perfect, that's when things got interesting. That's when the plot twist happened. And that's where I gained my confidence and realized that the road that no one else walks is sometimes the best one to be on. I'm an outspoken advocate who wants to change the world, and sometimes that does get me into trouble. But for the most part, I meet great people like my guest today. You're going to love her and everything she stands for and does. Welcome to my podcast, The Fawcett Report. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I have a relatively new friend. It's like 2 years, that's new when you're an older grown-up. She is Natalie Gee, and she's the co-founder of Gee Beauty, which is a female-founded and family-owned, multi-generational lifestyle and beauty brand. And that really is all I'm going to say, because I'm going to let her tell the story, but I've met her mom, and I've met one of her sisters. I now have to stalk Stephanie and meet her. But Nat, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to just be in your presence. And whenever we've been together, we've always had the best time. So I feel like we're going to have equally as fun today together.
Today's going to be great because I think you're one of the chicest people I follow on Instagram. And I love that you built something, because I love to build things. And I love that you're with your mom and your sisters, and you just celebrated 20 years. So it must be going well. You haven't killed each other yet. This is impressive for a family business.
Thank you. We always made the decision, even from day one, that our business would be a foundation of mutual respect and trust with one another. And I think because we made that decision from day one, it has been one promise that we've made in a professional sense. And I think what's really important is that among the day-to-day, we are business partners and professionals in that sense, but we are family once 5 o'clock does roll around. And I think that we have been able to achieve that because of those tougher conversations in the beginning and the real honesty. And I think the trust that we have in each other, that if it's not my expertise, that person is going to fulfill the expertise. And that's really been truly an attitude that we've had with our entire team, that we've trusted those professionals to be at the top of their game, even when they're also just beginning. And I think that confidence that you give, it's like a parent. You want to drive confidence into your kids from a very early age in a realistic manner, of course, but to really show them that they are capable of doing really important things, hard things, challenging things, and how they then grasp that, I think is just really great. So yeah, we just celebrated 20 years. It's a big honor. We're doing a lot of things right. We also don't do a lot of things right, and we change and adapt very quickly. And that's probably one of the reasons why we've been able to accomplish that, because of the flexibility and the malleability, if that's a word, to really,
I think
get to 20 years. We'll make it one.
It works. So my question to you is, over 20 years, there has to be at least one time that you guys did not see eye to eye on something. And how did you resolve that? Or maybe you did. What was it that you didn't agree on?
I think, look, in the day-to-day, there's lots of issues that come up. Anything that you can imagine, it's very hard to actually capture one specific issue. But I will say that conversations get heated. More so than disagreeing, conversations can get heated. They can get passionate because we are passionate. But I also think it's understanding, I think when you are with a leadership team, and this could be family, this could be on any corporate level, you have a leadership team. I think it's really important to be spiritually aligned with those people, because through thick and thin, you know that the interests are in the best efforts of the business and the people that are in it. And so when conversations get heated between us, I had a conversation just a few minutes ago with my father about some business matters that we are faced in front of right now. And it's so funny because It often comes down to just misunderstanding each other. The lack of listening, just stopping and listening and then not speaking. I think as family, we're probably more so guilty of or passionate on just answering quick or interrupting really quickly because we think we know, we're assuming something. So the ability to just stop and listen, I think, is a lesson that I personally learn like every single day. So when we were on the phone just a few minutes ago, he was telling me something and I was like, but you don't get it. And his response was, let me finish. Let me just tell the whole story. And what that teaches me is that at the end of the story, I realized that we were both saying the exact same thing. The way we came about it was very unique. But number one, we have a lot of passion. So that's going to come out maybe a little bit more often than we would like. But I also think that the ability to just sit back and listen shows a lot of respect for your partners, whether they're your family or not. I think it shows a lot of respect. So I think that it's been a blessing to work with the family because we've been able to establish that trust very early on versus getting to know someone and realizing are they a good fit or not. But those lessons are relearned like every single day.
I can only imagine. I'm a list of five. We could never be in business together. First of all, I run the show at home with my siblings. They all know.
No,
Yeah, there's that graphic that's so you want to argue with me. Great, I'll send my sister in. And that is exactly the dynamic with my five siblings.
I've seen you, Becky. One of the things that I have always been so impressed, and yes, we are new friends. I would say, what, 2 or 3 years rich in friendship. But the way that I hear when you talk about Help Us Adopt, when you talk about your passion and you talk about the conviction that you've had over the 9 years, and we've talked in depth about our families and the way that they're created, you're a force. You are so passionate, but you're so direct, which is so cool. And I think that I need to be more direct. I think where I'm at in my 40s, like I want that over the next few years of my career. And I see you and I see how direct you are and how you're not bitchy about it. You're just like, you are.
That depends who you ask. Not everybody likes the directness, but I don't know another way to be. I can't stand it when people don't say what they mean. It drives me crazy. I'm like, I know you have an opinion. Say your opinion. That is a clear sign for they're not okay. And you need to be direct.
In conversations where you want to get your point across, having an opinion versus stating a fact are really different things. And so I don't want to have an opinion all the time because my opinion is my opinion. It may not be the factual direction of where we need to go. So I think that listening more, something I definitely want to do even more, listening more, taking it on, honestly, also pausing as well. There's power in the pause of sitting with it and seeing how you feel. Maybe it takes a few minutes, maybe it takes a few hours or even the night. I don't think there's such a rush and the answers always come. So really just like trusting yourself more, relying on yourself, listening more. I think these are the things that I'm really learning in these moments in business right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. So this podcast, I wanted it to be subjects that I love, right? Lifestyle, makeup, jewelry, fashion, living in New York, raising two girls. And of course, my favorite topic ever, adoption and family building. And all roads lead to Help Us Adopt.
Yeah.
And ours did too. Tell everybody how we met that first. We followed on social media before.
Yeah.
But how did we meet?
We met, of course, through our dear friend, Caroline Baudino, Shop with Caroline. And we met at a fundraiser at Veronica Beard in California for Help Us Adopt. And Veronica Beard is incredible because you partner with them, the Veronicas, all the time. We've done 2 events. We hosted an event together. And that is really where we officially
where
met.
do you live?
I live in Miami.
So impressive. And I flew to Los Angeles for that event. And that was the coolest thing because it's a cool thing because Caroline just stands for women supporting women. And I know you were friends with her first, but you were there at my room. But that's what I love is that she just brings women together to support other women. And it's all these strong, smart entrepreneurs.
It's really cool. So Caroline hosted this incredible event along with our good friend Ashley, Milestones by Ashley, and Monique. And these are women that just know what friendship really looks like and know what fun friendships really look like. And I think when you're an adult, you feel the way that you should feel, almost like you should have felt this way in your 20s and you just didn't because relationships are not designed to be that way, although you just want them to be that way so badly. And then when you find it, you realize what's a flight? Like, what's a short flight if you can do it? And I was so grateful for that weekend. And that's really where we met. And I think for me, really connecting with you as well, Becky, I have a unique, what I call now, it's really our new normals. I am married to a woman and we have three incredible children. Rachel carried our twin boys and I carried our daughter over 14 months. So we have three kids under 8. My boys just celebrated their 8th birthday. And so for us to connect really on the way that families are now created, I think when I gave birth to my daughter, when Rachel gave birth to our boys, it was like women, we create miracles and we are warriors. And I don't think that there is one way that we create these miracles, and there is never a way that we are just one way of being a warrior. We create life. And it's so interesting. And I will share this quick story with you. People will ask us all types of questions. I'm sure you and I could have our own podcast about the questions that we get asked. One of the questions I will never forget, someone said to me, "Do you feel like your boys are your own?" And there was never a question that my boys, because I did not birth them, are my own. And that is really how mothers of adoption feel, foster mothers feel, what they are asked of. And there's another, stepmothers, great, yes, exactly, yes.
How about no one wanted to talk about how my family was built or how your family was built? Stepmothers have been around forever. When I always tell people it is a choice to love a child. And if you're going to be someone who makes the choice not to love a child, then we can stop talking now and keep moving.
Yeah, exactly. There's
It's a
never a
child.
question. Yeah, and it's a connection, and it's the love that a woman has for children. Rachel and I, my wife, we always say this too. This is like a new thing that we're so hyper aware of on the school forms. It's like mother, father, or how about parent? Because there are so many dynamic ways that families are being created now. And there's a lot of kids that sadly don't even have parents. So there's so many women that take on those parental roles. So I think how we connected was just the love of family creation. And when I hear you talk about your organization, the work that you do, the money that you raise, it's like you move worlds. It's incredible.
You're so nice to say that. And I think when we met in that room, I said, I only have a few minutes. And this might sound weird because we barely know each other. I love your family and how it's
Aw.
built and how you talk about it online. And the whole thing is that part of the reason that I started helpusadopt.org was because a few things I learned when I was adopting. Number one, it's really expensive, 50, 60,
Yeah.
$70,000.
Yeah.
Number two, people don't really care so much if people can't afford to adopt. They don't really
Yeah.
care. But they care even less 20 years ago or 18 years ago and still today. They care even less about the underserved communities who need to adopt, people of color, single parents, and the LGBT community. I told you, like, we help a lot of female couples, some who don't care about being pregnant, right? They just didn't,
Sure.
that wasn't even on their list, and they went
Sure.
straight to adoption. But we do help some female couples who tried to carry and found out they were infertile. And there are not many opportunities for them to get help in the world of adoption. And this was my driving force every single day because my dad raised us. He didn't do everything right, but he did a couple things right. Just because the rules don't apply to you doesn't make them right. Stand up for other people. And the fact that I knew what my life would have meant if I couldn't have adopted, because I couldn't physically have children, I found out, it's been awful. It's
Yeah.
been awful. It would have
Yeah.
been incomplete. So to then think someone's going to not want to help me because what I look like, color of my
Sure.
skin, the God I worship, or who I'm in love with, that really pissed me off. And that is why this whole organization exists, because I had to go help these other communities. So when I met you, I was like, not only is this your family, but you talk about it on social media.
Yeah.
I love that. You're so proud of your story, and Rachel's so proud of her story, and your kids are clearly proud of their story. And I knew that I was going to be friends with you because of how you embraced that. Those aren't easy conversations because the world isn't always kind.
I recognize how privileged Rachel and I are just in our life together. What we focus on is love and the love that we give our children. I think what you are doing is extremely important because you are recognizing people who really need the support, who come looking for the type of support that you can offer, financial, any kind of stability. I really recognize that. I was very fortunate when I came out to my own family at 35. They were very supportive of my decision. They did not know. And I always say, I respected whatever time that they needed because I had started my journey 10 years prior to my coming out. And so, whatever time they needed, that was the beginning. I came out the day of their first day of their journey, right? And so, that's a very real thing. So, I did not have any judgment or wonder why, but I'm very lucky in that regard. And I really recognize that there are a lot of people that do not have that on their side. So, what Rachel and I really try to do is show that when you are in a healthy relationship and you put love at the forefront and fun at the forefront, amazing things can happen no matter who you are, heterosexual or part of the LGBT community. Those are the fundamentals. And so Rachel and I do really focus on what it takes to have a very healthy relationship because that is the most important part to me. I'm so proud to be who I am. I would not never have imagined my life with anyone else except for Rachel. I always say too, like, I feel like I've lived 9 lives and I couldn't have done this with anyone else but her. Rachel allowed me to live the life that I wanted to live. And that's really what we focus on together is love and like good health. And that's it. Without those two things, it's hard to be successful.
Can you walk me through, did you, because of course I met you after
Yeah.
you had your children and
Yeah.
after you were a couple. Did you always just bring your family out on social media or was there a sort of conscious decision of how you got to that point? Because listen, it's not always easy to put your family out there. And even for me, it's not always easy because people will, when you adopt a child, it means someone placed their child with you and is not
Of
raping that
course.
child. So
Of
I
course.
get a very opinionated, uneducated comments. And maybe I got braver as time went on, I think. But was it ever a, we're not doing this online and then slowly but surely? Because I just love your confidence about it. And it's just making the world a better place, in my opinion.
So Rachel and I, what's really interesting about the two of us is that we grew up so differently. Our moms, like when you really look at the women, my mother-in-law, Rachel's mom, Jamie, and my mom, like front facing, they are so different. But the values and the morals that Rachel and I grew up with, it was as if Jamie and my mother Miriam were side by side. And the traumas that they went through and the way that they protected us as kids, it's identical. And that's what I think part of my kismet connection is with Rachel is that we both have such profound respect and love for our mothers in particular and what they went through. So Rachel grew up very open. Her mom was the first female photographer at the White House. She was born in the Chelsea Hotel in New York. She has a French chef father, like if you can imagine, just the typical Frenchman father. Her mom is a total New Yorker, creative, and grew up so open. Sex was an open topic. Showing your body was open. It just was very different. And her mother, as a photographer, grew up photographing Rachel. So Rachel was a kid that was on display and was used to being on display. Everything was a photo shoot. I grew up a little bit different. My mother was born into a very religious Jewish family. So I grew up quite Orthodox in that regard. A lot of love, a lot of respect. But my mom was not sheltered, but her parents were Holocaust survivors. So she was very private. Everything was more sacred and protective. She was very, like, a group with a lot of fear. So I think when I came to meet Rachel, I was very guarded. I was very private. I was very closed. And Rachel was the exact opposite. It's probably why I fell in love with her was because she really lived her life so openly. And Rachel is also on television. She's been on reality television for 11 or 12 years. When I met her, she was very much like a showman. And so this idea of being online was very open for her. It wasn't even an issue. And then I'm also front facing via social media with my business. So I think because our kids have been born into these two parents that are very front facing and not afraid of that, we really, it's funny, we don't show it all. what we show is very genuine in the moment. And our kids love it because they're a part of that fun. Rachel is really that fun. She really keeps it moving that much. She's so naturally energetic. And I am even more protective. And together, we've adopted a more spiritual connection even over the last 2 years. The mutual spirituality we have together has really deepened our relationship. And some things we just don't share, and that's perfectly fine. That's a choice we come to together. But it's so natural. Like, it's not something that we've ever made a decision about, because it's not something we need to make a decision about. But again, I will say, look, we live in Florida. We live in Miami, which is interesting because you wouldn't think that we would be as comfortable or protected. And we feel very lucky. I mean, I love living here. I can't describe my life in another city because I don't know how it would be. And I always say you cross the bridges when you get there. But I never take for granted the community that I'm around, the family that I have, and the friends that we have. We have a very supportive group of diverse people that love us and embrace us no matter who they are.
I think it's very interesting because I made the decision to start talking about being infertile and having miscarriages and the money and adoption almost instantaneously. It took me a while to get there. It took me to the point of when I got home with Jane, which Jane will be 20. And when I went through this whole process of everything, brought Jane home, here I was, this new mother who had really been through hell and back again on a road no one else wanted to be on with me. No one else had been on that I knew of, and no one wanted to talk about it. And it was like, holy crap, where's the community? And I'll be damned if I went through all this. I'm going to raise kids in secrecy because of how they came into this world. And I also had this like instant moment of, I went through this alone and it was miserable and I'm still alone. No one behind me is going to be alone. And it did take me a while to find my exact voice, but I found it very quickly. And I've put stuff online that people are like, did you really put that online? I'm like, yeah, I did. I did put that online because guess what? Over 2 million women a year leave IVF like me. Who's representing them? No one wants to talk about that. Now, I keep some of my kids' story bits private. I don't really talk about their birth parents, except for the fact that they are remarkable human beings. Their story is not mine to share. But it's interesting. It's very interesting. And I was drawn to you for that bravery because it just helps someone who might be in your shoes, but not as comfortable shoes as you're in, and might be like, oh my God, if she did it, I think I could do this. Like you give people, without knowing it, confidence that they can walk this walk and share their story and embrace it all.
I agree with you. I think that I'm not doing anything that anyone else isn't in front of. But I think what I am doing is I am just sharing the importance of doing what feels right for you.
Yeah.
And that's like really, like when I really think about it, I'm never intentionally, it's not like I walk around like, I'm gay, how about you? Because I actually present very heterosexual, which is so
Now, you
funny. Yes.
both my girls tell me that I would be much more interesting if I was a lesbian. And I'm like, girls, I hate to break this to you. I am not a lesbian. They're like, could you just say it? Girls. Am I really love saying it? Like, you're a little boring, mom. You're a little boring.
That's funny.
It's so funny. But I love that my girls, and this is before they were there, like a few years ago as younger teens, love that we talk about this as a family. And like, it's funny. We laugh. I'm like, do you really think that would make me more interesting? I can't imagine growing up in the 70s and 80s having that conversation with my mother. And I just love the world that I'm helping these kids grow up in. And that to me is a lot of fun. There's no conversation off the table.
That's awesome.
And I always tell my girls, I don't care who you love. I don't care what you grow up to do. I just want you to be able to put a roof over your own head and be happy.
Totally.
Go be you. Go be you.
Yeah. I think that as an adult, it's really important to meet people where they are. You don't want to assume anything. But then I also think that for parents of children, you cross every bridge as you get there, right? It's very hard to say what if or what happens. That's what you do. You cross every bridge. Hopefully, we all are just meeting people where they are, not assuming anything of people. Because at the end of the day, look, we're just human. And we have all these high expectations of everybody, including ourselves. And social media, while it's incredible, sometimes it doesn't really help if you've got caught up in a bad moment or you're following the wrong people. There's so much out of our control. And I think it's like what we're really doing to hold the things that are really important to us and in those moments. And hopefully that's that. We're all just doing our best.
I want to go back to something you said about the boys and how
Yeah.
people ask you,
Yes.
you feel like they're your children. So people say that about adopted kids all the time and they worry. I worried, could I connect with a child that grew in another
Someone
woman's
else's
body,
body. Sure.
basically a stranger? And then when I started really thinking about it, I'm like, but wait a minute, that stranger is going to entrust me to take care of her baby forever. Okay, so maybe we're not strangers anymore. That's a big trust factor there, the adoptive mom and the birth mom relationship. And it was
Yeah.
instant. I can't even explain it to people. Like it was instant. The minute Jane went into my arms, that was it. And when people ask me, prospective adoptive parents or anybody, the press or
Mhm.
whoever, if I'm being interviewed, they say, what is the number one thing you have to know about adoption? And I think if I have to pick one, which is hard to do, it's that it's very easy to love a child that did not come from your body because the genetics aren't what parenthood's are
Sure.
about. If you have
Of
genetic
course.
children who share your biology, but that's not what makes you a mother or your kid a kid. It's the mothering. To mother is a verb. And I always say that. So it is very interesting, but I think generations told us that motherhood only looks a certain way.
Sure. And talking about like nature versus nurture, what is so funny to me is that, my daughter Ari, who I gave birth to, she's such a Rachel. And there's so many qualities about each one of our children that is nature versus nurture or the other way around. And it's just incredible. And yeah, look, you have some biological moms that cannot connect to their child and they're not in adoptive situations, right? So I think that again, it's really about you never know what goes on behind closed doors and you can only do what you do best, right? So if anyone would ask me that question, what do I do if I can't connect or how do I connect? Just take your time. I wish it's interesting. So when had Ari, this was like almost 6 or 7 years ago, postpartum really wasn't what it was today in terms of the education and knowledge. And so I went into pregnancy knowing a lot about pregnancy, knowing absolutely nothing about the postpartum journey. And then breastfeeding came up. It's, oh my God, you have to breastfeed. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't connect to it the way that I wanted to, and it was a really big deal for me to accept that it was okay. And you'd watch a lot of people. I mean, it was not an ideal situation for me. But you figure out all the incredible ways to connect with your child, no matter what happens. And this is a situation where, like, Ari came from my own body. That's the thing. It's who is to say who connects to whom over what situation. We're just too quick to judge. Those people asking the questions too, honestly, Becky, I think that there's ways to ask a question as well. Perspective, right? Like a perspective adopted parents would certainly question that because they want to so badly. So they're looking for guidance versus a nosy client or, a nosy friend, et cetera. And so I think it's really about being discerning and how are you answering people and what are you
Yeah.
holding to yourself? You don't have to answer everyone when they ask. And you can also tell people like you're being rude. I'm sorry, it's none of their business. You can do that too.
It is just how you ask it, right? So people will come up to me and they'll say, oh, you're a mom by adoption, because I just lead with it. And
Sure.
people are like, you shouldn't really out your kids as adopted. I'm like, I can't say what I tell them on podcast. I'm not allowed to use those words. But I'm like, that's how our families go. They are adopted.
Sure.
They're never going to stop being adopted. I'm always going to be infertile. I will always be a mom by adoption. But they're like, but you're just a mom. And I go, fine, fine. But I'm very proud of our story. And people don't talk enough about adoptive families, in my opinion. And so we are going to talk about it. And I'm raising two kids to be very proud of how our family's built. And they never doubt for a minute that I wouldn't take a bullet for either one of them. And that's what motherhood's about. But people will say, did you ever want to have your own children? And I'm just like, looking at them, crinkling up my nose. You can see me crinkling up my nose here on the screen. And I make them squirm a little bit. And they're usually like, "What are you thinking?" I'm like, "I'm thinking how to be kind in how I answer you."
Yeah.
Because according to a judge and a lot of money that had to pay to adopt children, they are mine.
Yeah.
I'm there and I'm theirs. And I said, "I think what you wanted to say is, did I ever want to be pregnant?" And I did at one point really want to be pregnant. I did 5 rounds of IVF. Didn't really want to be pregnant. I wanted to be normal.
Yeah.
To be normal. I didn't want to have a different story. I wanted that perfect side, right? Oh, I'm perfect. I'm a little bump. I'm going to have a baby shower, blah, blah. I didn't really want to be pregnant. So when it came down to it, I was in the delivery room with Jane's birth mother, Victoria, which is Jane's middle name, by the way. Not a lot of people know that, but there you go. And I'm watching her, and we're in there together. It was long labor. And
Yeah.
I start laughing, and she's like, what's so funny? And I'm like, "I'm actually really glad that's you on that table and not me." I mean, at that point, we're friends. She's glad I could help out. And we just shared that moment. But giving birth was not what was on my agenda. And I've even had women say to me, "Do you feel like you're really a woman because you didn't give birth?" I'm like, "Honey, I'm more woman than you will ever be based on that comment.
Totally.
Thank you very much for showing me who you are." I'm like, that's not what makes us women.
Yeah.
That is a part, and it can be important to some women, but we also have to acknowledge everybody's stories. It's not everybody's living, breathing, dying moment.
And the truth is really hard for people as well. And the fact that I think you put it out there as openly as you do, that's what you do so well, Becky. You can't control the way other people take that in, and that's on them, right? That has nothing to do with you. So this is a decision that you made that is this works for your family. That's
Yeah.
all you need
Yeah.
to know, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is really hard for people because what it does is that it makes people face themselves, right? And sometimes people don't want to do that. And so it brings up a lot for people. Again, everyone's just got to do what they feel is best.
So we've talked a lot about family longer than I thought we were going to, and we have a little bit of time, but not a lot of time to talk makeup and style, like clothes and fashion. And I have never seen someone make sweatpants look so good. I can't even explain it to you. You show up on Instagram in gray sweatpants and you belt the sweatshirt. I'm like, I don't even understand what's going on here. And I wish I could look that good in sweatpants. How do you do it? It's just you, right?
Yes.
Just who you are.
I think that what I do is everything I do is with intention. I grew up in a household, so my parents came from extreme poverty, and really whatever they achieved in life, they built together. And I watched my parents work very hard, both entrepreneurs and give us everything. I actually watched them do it. So, one of the things that my mother would do was everything was a presentation. And it was a styled presentation because what brought her out of her poverty was drawing. And so she would draw really beautiful things. My father, on the other hand, was so creative. He could already draw, but he was a big visionary and is a brand guy. So he would tell these great stories, and together they created incredible businesses independently. And now we're all working together as a family. But I grew up, a ketchup bottle could never sit on the table. It had to be put in a jar. So I think what that showed me was we laid out our clothes the night before. My room, and if it was like mood boards, it was always mood boards. We would watch on VHS Karl Lagerfeld Chanel shows. That was like our era, Kevin Aucoin. Like we would watch and look at books. And then my father, on the other hand, would take us out instead of going to parks. We went to museums. He'd ask us what our dreams, our desires were. So that's sort of how I was brought up. And so again, everything I do is with intention and it's all about style. Like I think for me, because I watched it for so long and it's just so ingrained, it is all about style for me. And so that's how I get dressed no matter what I wear. And I take a lot of pride in it. And I really believe in the power of showing someone the effort that you put in. And I do believe that the effort that you put in, no matter what you wear, no matter how you come about it, shows how much you care about that person. So I've always worked. I left university to start working like jobs and such like that. I love the connection with real people and I've always loved working. I think dressing up for me, no matter what you're wearing, is like a real sign of respect, intention, And then how you show your style is like really cool. And my style's evolved over the years. Like, obviously, as it's evolved over the years and the different lives that I've led, like, it's been incredible to see. And I have a lot of respect for it. Like, I owe a lot to my parents for that, for really never giving up on us and never really treating us like, no matter what we were living in or how we were living, my parents never gave up on really always going back to basics with us and really explaining like what is important in our lives together. So that was like, yeah, that's where I think I get it from.
I'm going to ask you in a few minutes where they can find you, but if you want style inspiration, your account's terrific and I love it. You share and it's
Yeah.
fun and you mix and match and it's just great. We have time for one last question. And
Sure.
it's so funny because here is the main thing you do. And we've left it for the last question is
Mhm.
makeup.
Yeah.
My God, makeup and prime skin. Does
Yes.
everybody know about prime skin? If you don't know about prime skin, you got to know now.
Thanks, Becky. I have an incredible business with my family called G Beauty. We are a modern makeup and skincare studio. So we have two studios in Toronto, Canada, and in Miami, Florida. In the studios, we do brow shaping, incredible result driven facials. We have our own brand of makeup called G Beauty. We have an incredible team of skilled skin therapists, brow specialists who make beauty feel accessible. I think for us, we never really wanted beauty to be a special occasion. This was about, incorporating your beauty routine into your everyday life. We wanted beauty to feel as easy as getting your coffee. And so not only do we give you the services, but we also want to show you how you can do your makeup at home. And so we were never really a studio about coming in Saturday night for your makeup for a night out. It was always about teaching you how to do your makeup for those everyday moments. There's nothing I love more than helping a professional woman transition her makeup look from carpool to office to the meeting to date night after. And now it's soccer mom Sundays. Everything is about empowerment and confidence building. And so it's been a pleasure to work with women on their confidence. I'm not selling makeup. We're always selling the feeling, how you feel in G Beauty makeup. We really want makeup to feel easy and effortless because then you can do it anywhere, whether you're in your car, at the gym, at an airport. So I'm always in my car. I'm a mom of three. I work full time and I do my makeup in the car. I think it was like Jay-Z once said, the best place to listen to music is in the car. There are so many really important things that can happen in a surrounded space. You can take your moment. We're all so busy. Like, where are your moments of just peace? And so this is where I do my makeup in the car. We have an incredible hero product called Prime Skin, which is like a primer and foundation all in one, smooths out the skin, makes the skin look smooth and hydrated. And then you can follow me to watch the tutorials. I like to serve beauty in a very easy, accessible way. And the language I use, this is like real women. I want us to feel like no matter where you are and who you are, you can do your makeup, even if it's not G Beauty. It's about touching people and it's about helping them feel their best.
There's much more to your online shop than just the G Beauty brand, but tell everybody, we're going to wrap it up where they can find you.
You can find me at Instagram handle G Beauty or Nat G Beauty. And yeah, gbeauty.com. Again, we have studios in Miami, Florida, and in Toronto. So I'm a proud Canadian. And yeah, that's where you can find us.
It's pretty amazing. Such an honor to meet you. I'm so grateful to Caroline for the introduction and thank you for being here today. 30 Seconds with Becky Fawcett. So today you listened to my conversation with my friend Natalie Gee of G Beauty. And I think one of the things that I don't know if that's exactly what she was saying, but it's one of the things that I was saying is it's not always easy to go public with your pain. It's something that, again, back to that, I tried to be perfect for so long. It's one of those things that if you have pain, it means you're not perfect and you're weak in some area, right? And the world tells you that's shameful. That should be kept behind a closed door. I realized very early on that I was going to talk about being infertile. I was going to talk about going through IVF. I was going to talk about the 3 pregnancies and the 3 miscarriages. And I was going to talk about leaving the world of IVF without that $82,000 in my pocket and headed to adoption. And I was terrified. And then when Jane was placed in my arms, it all started to make sense. There's no more shame. There's no more secrets. This is just what some women go through to build their family. And it's just another way families are built. So own your pain, go public with it. Because here's the other thing. If you're public with it, no one can hurt you with it. That's it. You've taken away anybody's power to use it against you. That's my message for today. I hope you had a great day listening to the Fawcett Report. I have so much fun doing these, and I'll talk to you again soon. 30 Seconds with Becky Fawcett. Thank you for listening to the Fawcett Report. I'm so glad you were here today. And here's to seeing the world a little differently and possibly using your voice to make a difference. You can follow the Fawcett Report on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And you can message me on Instagram or Facebook. And I will actually respond as long as you're not mean. You can disagree with me. You can share your point of view, but you can't be mean because I don't do mean. And finally, if you're curious about my adoption advocacy and family building work through helpusadopt.org, you can find us there on Instagram and Facebook, as well as through the website, helpusadopt.org. See you next time.